Greetings, Earthlings! My name is Zero Jake and welcome back to Space Engineers. Last episode we created this magnificence in symmetry, or at least vertical symmetry, horizontal symmetry not so much. We have refineries, we have assemblers, we have cargo, and we have nanite factories. These nanite factories here are just for constructing and repairing ships. They're not supposed to do anything else. Well, no. They're supposed to be constructing things in this ship and repairing things everywhere. But they're not the main source of actually building ships, which is what this ship is supposed to do. For that, we're going to use a different mod, but that will be probably next episode. But instead, what we need is for this thing to be mobile, as that's kind of the point. So to do this, we have level 2 armor thrusters, which are very nice. I've got a plan to do that. And then we've got azimuth fusion reactors in order to power the thing. Now, I was considering using the arc reactor, but that required arc fuel. And that might be explosive. I don't know. If you think having an arc reactor would be better, then tell me and I will think about it later. But anyway, what we need to do today is we need to plan out where we're going to place the thrusters, place them, have the nanofactories do it. Basically, that's it. So, the way that this is going to work is we have two level 2 large thrusters in each direction along, give me a second, this plane here. Yeah? This plane. The reason why we can't have it on the vertical planes, so we can't have up and down thrusters, give me a second, I'll spin around, up and down thrusters, is because we don't have anywhere that can fit these massive armor thrusters. Instead, we're going to be using the smaller ones and their whole block counterparts in order to do the up and down. We also need to add a jump drive, possibly, though that may not be necessary. Yeah. Might add a jump drive, might not. What I really want, actually, is a hyperspace drive, similar to stuff in Homeworld, which has exactly the same effect as, you know, basically a huge grid comes out of nowhere and then just goes across your ship. And you're just like, right. So, what we need to do is plan out where we're going to put things and make sure they're put in the right location. Now, when I was planning how to build this thing, I was having in mind using these massive thrusters. I was thinking I'd have some kind of nacelle thing like we have over here, but no, we're just going to have them in lines so that this thing looks as much as a pod as possible. So before we start, I need to go over to the capital ship, which is technically also the pod. Oh god, I'm going to call it the pod, aren't I? And I'm going to turn repair and construction off on both of the nanite factories. I've got two groups. Nanite factories is the pod, and nanite factory is the capital ship. Simple. So, we want to get rid of everything from here. Okay. In fact, we have quite a lot of room. This is good. Actually, that's 6 across, isn't it? No, 1, 2, 3. No, it's 7. Interesting. So, we have a possibility to have double the amount of thrusters I was thinking we were going to have. Basically, what we can do is we can place a thruster. If I get thruster, we can have... God damn it. Flip this way, go like this. So we could have a thruster here, pretend that's actually in its part and can't be placed for some reason. That's right, yeah. So we place two like this, and then we have armor blocks in the middle. And then what we do is we go to the other side and do the same. That's basically what I'm doing here. Now the question is, are things going to get in the way? Okay, so these things need to go 2 blocks inwards this way. That should be easy. Yeah, that can go 2 blocks in. And then we need to go 2 blocks down, so we need to get rid of these guys. Right, so this is where the armor thruster is going to be. Imagine it being, you know, here. I'll try and get it in position, which may be harder than it actually appears to be. Yeah, this is going to be annoying. Right, I'm going to need to temporarily place an armor block here and an armor block here so that I can actually place the damn thing. Place one here and place one here. Okay, this will be in line with the armor. And then what we can do is we can place armor block here, flip this thing round. Oh shush. Life support's not low. It's only suit energy. Oh, that's what you were saying. Right. Never mind. Good. So that should be how it works. Yes. Right. So what we're also going to do, right, just for things, that means we've got 4 large thrusters going in each horizontal direction, so that's forward, backwards, left, right, which is pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay. So, I'm going to... I'm sure there's a better way of doing this. Okay, I'll be back in a second once I have recharged my energy, and I might have a different way of doing this that might be better than the way I'm currently doing it. Okay, I might have some kind of a plan. It may be a okay plan, it might be the most brilliant plan in existence, or it might be the worst plan in existence. Or anywhere in between. Basically, I don't know how well this is going to go. Yeah. So, act like this is the front of the ship, you know, like this is the front of the ship, so we want the thrusters inlaid with the armor, okay? At the back of the ship, we will then extend it outwards so that we have more room. This is where the reactors are going to go, and also where the main engines are going to go, and the jump drive, and all sorts of other things, right? Back end is the main thing. So it looks less like a pod and more like a pod with legs. Yeah. Oh god. The name of the ship is going to be a pod, isn't it? Just the pod. Okay. Right, that's 3, right? No, that's 4. Oops. Put those guys back. Need to place some of you there and you there. Need to get rid of you guys. Right. Place these guys here. They're in the wrong orientation, because of course they are. Just come on. One there, and one there. Good. So that's how that's going to look. I'm going to quickly do the other side as well. There we go. Right. So all of the 8 engines that we currently have, we are now going to construct, because I am definitely sure, fingers crossed, that this is the way that I want it. So we're going to turn on all of the construction capabilities, and we should get going. And another thing to note is what I've done with the advanced advanced assemblers. They are now linked up to the nanite factories, so they will now construct everything that the nanite factory needs, which is excellent. This does mean that I'm just storing ingots now, but it is much better than using, I don't know, 30 refineries in order to get every single type of resource at the correct amount. We are going to do that, but for now, because you can't do the nanite factory to assemble a setup with a shipyard, but it's better for this kind of thing, where I don't care how long it takes to build this thing, just as long as it gets built, and as long as I don't have surplus, because surplus is going to be annoying. We already have 1 full cargo container, and by the way, that's the, you know, the maximum size cargo container, with 10 times cargo size, so yeah, makes you think. Right, so that should be good. I'm just wondering if the automated sorting system is taking away the resources from the nanite factories before they can actually do anything. Because that may be a problem. In which case, I will do something about that. So I need speed module. Speed module there. Just place these on here and then everything should be good, except I need interior plate. Of course I need interior plate. Right, place these guys there. These guys here. Flip over to the other side. One there, one there, one there, one there. Now, the reason why I'm not putting any other upgrades, such as constructor upgrades or anything like that, is because these aren't supposed to construct things. They are basically here to maintain the ship. That's it. They're here, maintain the ship, that's their job. Not to build anything. Even though they are being used to build things right now, you get the point. Or you possibly might not get the point. So if we flip over to the other side, you can see the glorious thrusters, which are kind of weird looking, but yeah. You'll get used to it, I'm sure. It's got 8 eyes. 4 of which are staring at you, 4 of which are, you know, not there. Okay, now the next thing that we get to do is we get to do the rear section of the ship. Right, I need to go over to capital ship, disable the nanite factory's construction capabilities. Good. And then what would be useful is... No, we don't need that. Good. Now we get to the hard job of designing the engine bay, which is going to be absolutely ridiculous. It's not going to be absolutely ridiculous. My plan is not that mad, but you will see the light once I start using it. Oh, and also, controls are going to be in the engine section, because of course they are. Regular, well, ships of the Caribbean, you know, ships of the colonial era, they had their captains and their pilots at the back rather than the front, which is actually true for most capital ships in science fiction, but usually they would be on the top in a sort of bridge instead of just being on the deck. Sci-fi ships are bigger. That's basically my point. Okay, so right, let's see what's going on here. Yeah. I'm gonna stop doing this in a second, and I'll show you what I'm doing. So if I flip over to here, what we're going to do is we're going to. Oh, I failed there. Good job there. Takes me 10 minutes to rotate something into the correct position. Okay. The plan is we do this kind of thing. I know that's descriptive. I love your enthusiasm for descriptiveness, Jake. Very well done. So we do this so we can kind of separate it out but still keep the the slanted shape, and then it will just continue like this instead. Yeah? Okay? Get the point? If not, then you should probably ask the audience for the answer. Right. Okay. Give me a second. My brain froze for a bleh. Exactly, that's my point. Right, so I should really just be doing the sides instead of all of it, because that's just going to take up my inventory. Okay, right. So what we have here is we have the engine cell, which goes out a bit. This will go into a single engine cluster at the, well, over here. There's going to be 2 sets of engines, but they're going to be in 1 engine cluster. We have room for how many? So if we don't do this, yeah, and continue going like this for another row. How much room do we have? Right, get you. I can sort out the edges later, but yeah. Okay, so we are how many blocks? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so it's 3, 7, so that's 10, 13. So we have a 13 block thing all the way from here. Pretend that this is copied onto here for, you know, useful sake. No, useful doesn't have a sake. Never mind. So we have 13 blocks width and 5 blocks depth. No, height. Height would be the proper word. And what we're going to be using is... actually, yes, that would be a good idea. Hang on. We could use the modular thrusters, which look interesting. I don't know how powerful they are, but we can support them with regular... Well, no, with T2 thrusters if we need to. Wow, it does look like they use a lot of thruster components. Just double check on the thrusters. Regular thrusters. Yeah, they do use quite a lot. They do use quite a lot of thruster components. Well, we're going to be using these modular thrusters as our engine, possibly. We just need to... Actually, yes, I'll be fine. Good. Proceed this way. We'll do curving later. Curving can happen later. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is it 4? Yes, it's fourth one. Good. Continue along this way. Okay, and then pretend that this is all, you know, covered up and everything. So, what we're going to do is we need another tab which we can place these modular thrusters on. Modular. So we've got side, center, middle, corner, center 2. Center 2, center 3. Okay, so those are probably for different orientations. Singular modular thruster, side sloped. Ah, so these are sloped ones. Interesting. Yes, I believe I will make use of those. Can I though? Can I make use of these? No. Right. Okay, here's the plan, people. We're going to get the side, center, middle, corner. That should do for now. So we've got this corner one. No, I've got this side one. So there's one block here. We'll extend everything when we need to. No, this one is not going to be useful because we're not one thick. We're not one thick either, so that's not going to be useful. Corner, and we need center and center. So these center 3s, which is the one that I've currently got selected, this is center 2, center 3. Center 3s are supposed to be this orientation, and then center 2s are supposed to be this orientation. As you can see, the lining of everything is the same, so that's good. What we want to do is we want to place these guys like so, like that. They're only going to be like this much. And this is technically just a plan, this is not the final thing. We also need corner as well. Do we have another corner one? No. Right. That should be fine anyway. Just rotate, will you? Place one here. One there. Oh my god. Stop changing the rotation options. It's annoying me. Right. Okay. That's good. And then we want these guys. Place like so. Place a ton of them. Flip them around, except not that way, this way. And then finally we have these ones which are like so. flip them around this way, this orientation, place them like this, and that should be good. Now, please note that we can move some of these if we so desire, but for now they will stay like this. And now, the fun bit is welding them all together. Which, you know me by now, that's not going to happen. Now, this is going to take, how many do we have? We're 3 by 13. Oh. So it's going to be 39 times 600 thruster components in order to weld these guys together. Yeah. So it's 1,200. Yeah, it's quite a lot. Don't say that my energy is low at 25%. I mean, it's not as bad as No Man's Sky where it's say energy is low or energy is critical at 75% energy. As you can see, this is what this thing is going to look like. I'll do something with armoring later, but for now we're going to test how well these engines work. If we can, in fact. Probably not at this stage, we're going to need to place reactors and stuff. So, continuing what I've been doing before. Give me a second. Just throwing things on the floor because I like to. You can see what this will kind of look like, but we'll be back in a second once this thing is welded together and I've done more of the superstructure. Is it superstructure? Maybe. More of the structure of the engine nacelle. Or bay. I don't know what to call this thing. I know, the engine. There we go. That's simple. Right, back in a second. There we go. So, we've got the main section of it done. I'm not sure on this final design, but I like the idea of using these modular thrusters. They look kind of interesting. I don't know how well they will perform because we've yet to get reactors, but hopefully we'll be able to test that in a few minutes. Probably go to extend, like add another layer of increased, well, add another layer to this because it looks kind of flat, maybe. Like have a layer starting from here, for example. Not a princess layer, but a layer. Okay? So yeah, that continues upwards, and then we might have this turn into kind of a two trapeziums on a rectangle, maybe. I'll have a look and see if that's possible, but the last thing that we're going to do is we need reactors and we need a command seat. Now for this purpose, I have started creation of the only internal area where you can actually, you know, live. There'll be some form of oxygen layer here, but yeah. And basically it's going to be this interior section here. Inside here is going to be, or rather, actually, no. Yes, this will actually do nicely because then we can have, yeah, this. I will need to plan around what I'm doing right now for when we attach the shipyard, but basically we have enough room for it. Okay, that's a given. Okay, so we need to find a place to place a reactor. A reactor at the least. Possibly down here. Probably room. Yeah, this is the hard bit. Finding an area where I can place something which doesn't already have things in it. That doesn't go too far up, because the further up we go, the less room we're actually going to have for the important stuff, like, you know, everything else. What we could do is we could place here. That's got enough room, right? Yeah. However, it is off-center, and that's going to drive me slightly mad. Only slightly, though. Only slightly. Yeah, that is off-center. We could place 2 fusion reactors, but then they wouldn't connect to anything else. Okay, here's the plan. What we do is put this line here, get reactors, place one here, place one here, and then link these guys up. That was the right way around, yeah? Yes, it's smaller end has the connection, good. So what we do is we go and get the conveyor tube, we flip it around like this and there. So we've got connection point here, and connection point here. Good. We're going to have to exempt these reactors so that we can actually get uranium in it, but that should be good. Those will be the reactors at the front, and then we'll have the habitation section here at the back. How we get into the habitation section, that is for another time. That's for another episode. But we should have reactors nearly online. Oh, you got to build reactor components. Right, here's the big question of the day. Vote now. Do we have any stone? No. So we don't have enough for... oh, right, no. Correct question is, how much gravel do we have? Not in control panel, you fool. Gravel. Oh, we have plenty of gravel. Okay. Production, go to... advanced... What are you missing? Silver. Well, we are missing silver. What a surprise. Okay. I'm going to need to grab some silver then. And that's going to be really, really fun. Right, so let's get the attack drone to dock onto this thing so that it doesn't fly off into deep space. Because if it does, then that's a lot of resources that have just gone down a drain. Even though there are no drains in space, except for black holes, which technically aren't drains, but you get the point. Ship fuel low, I don't care. As long as you can stay here, that's fine. That turret isn't turret is inactive, good, so that's good. Okay, I'm going to need to go find some silver, because that's going to be a thrilling adventure. And I'll be back in a second. Okay, we're back, and I've brought silver with me, so we should now be able to build reactor components when we dock. Now that's going to be the fun thing, docking in a brick with another brick that are currently moving at orbital velocity. Oh no, they're not moving at orbital velocity because orbital velocity isn't actually possible in this game unless you're trying to orbit, I don't know, an asteroid. That's like a few meters per second you need to orbit an asteroid, though technically all you're doing is orbiting the sun. But yeah. Okay, so we need to turn on this and prepare for a rocky ride as soon as we get within magnetization range, which is now. Good, we're locked, and lock. Good. We're also currently moving, apparently. Right, that should be good. Right, let's head over. We should now have reactor components, so these reactors should now be online. This is kind of big, isn't it? Good. Reactors should be getting some more reactor components. Yes, good. We've got one of them online, and now we just need the other, which is also online. Excellent. Now, what I need to do is go to capital ship, reactor, fusion reactor, azimuth, fusion reactor. I need to add exempt. And other azimuth fusion reactor, I need to add exempt. And then I need to go into inventory. I need... That's not how you spell uranium, by the way. Just saying. If you thought it was, then you're wrong. Then we need to go to reactor. Or fusion reactor might be a better idea. And then what we need to do is transfer some, but not all, of the uranium onto here. Good. That should do. These reactors are now online. We've got like, what, 4 of these reactors now? Plus 2 regular reactors. Yeah. It's pretty good. Last thing that we need to do before we can do a field test, I need to turn on lights again. We need gyros. And we need a command seat, which should be easy. We are orientated this way, correct? Yes, good. So I want gyros 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Right. That should be enough gyros to hopefully make this thing at least a tiny bit maneuverable. We want to face this direction. We need a command seat. So flight. Flight. There are 2 different flight seats. Interesting. That is very interesting. Right, control station. We need a control station, not a command seat, because control station, we're on the interior, so it doesn't matter. Now, please remember that the center of this thing is here, this line. Not a block, a line, which is incredibly annoying, so we're going to place a control station here. Now all we need to wait for is the nanote factories to weld this thing up, and then we can finally get this thing rolling. There is one problem. One slight problem. First of all, we need to get rid of the helpful attack drone so that we can, you know, move without inertia dampeners. And second of all, we need thrusters on the up-down axis. Yeah, turning inertia dampeners off doesn't unpark, you fool. Right, just move away. Just move away. Move away. There. Now, slow down within a reasonable amount, and that should be good. We've got thrusters going this way, we've got thrusters going this way, and that way. We just need up and down. Right? Okay. I'm just going to place a few, since we don't really need that much. Well, not right now anyway. Number 3, place there. I will change the areas that these thrusters are in, because it's kind of necessary that I do that. But we are going to need quite a lot of them in order to stop this thing from moving. But 4 might do for now. Okay, that's a might. A very big might. Not a magic might. No, that's something else entirely. Flip it around this way, place there. Also, it'll be very good to double check that we're doing it properly. Yes, we are. Good. Because if I wasn't doing it properly, then I would probably yell at myself. And then the cycle repeats again and again. Right, last one. Good. That will do for now. We can now get in here, get to the command seat, which has now been placed. We will fancy this thing up later. But now we should be able to fly this thing. So what we want to do is get the connector. So that's connector, what, 4? Maybe? We want to toggle on off, and we want a switch lock. In fact, I want those moved here. I want those moved somewhere else. 3 and 4, because that's where I usually have them. And switch lock. Okay. So that should be this one, right? We ready? Oh, oops. I'll fix that later, he says. Right. Disabling lock. Deactivating. And descend. That's some pretty good acceleration, but that's because we're using level 2 thrusters. They're the best. Right, let's have a look at... Actually, I want to go further away from the capital ship before I accidentally spin round at, I don't know, a stupid amount of angular momentum and then kick the capital ship in the face. Because that would not be a good idea, just going whoa and crashing into it. Right. Gyros, not the most maneuverable thing, but it is a capital ship, and it is not supposed to be combat orientated, so that's fine. Next, heading right, decent acceleration, more acceleration than that thing anyway. We've got to change thrusters on that. Heading, so left, right, pretty good. Now, here's the fun bit. Go forward. Look at the acceleration on that. And then we accelerate pretty good and slow down. So going forward uses about 14% power, going backward uses about 22. Interesting. So I love these, by the way. Looks cool, doesn't it? Yes. It's basically got a bunch of tiny thrusters. Ooh, look at the noise. Listen to the noise. Interesting. Yeah, so I'll stop mucking around now. So, that will be it for today's episode. We have engines, we have reactors, we have a control seat, we have gyros, we have a lot more silver. Next episode, if I stop moving for a second, we are going to be working on some more facilities, so we need a medical room, obviously. We also will start building or planning the shipyard section, which, if I go and get a untainted toolbar, we're going to use these Shipyard Straight XR. Well, no, we're going to be using these. They're massive. These the white sections are basically where they weld, essentially. So we have this going around here, and that should weld everything together. If it doesn't, we've also got nanite factories to help with construction. Okay. We also need to build an anchor point, which will probably be originating from here with a connector, because connectors are fun. But yeah, that will be done in a later episode. Until then, my name has been Zero Jake. End transmission.